welcome to episode 95. I may or may not be as calm as I am throughout this episode, because I'm very sensitive in my tummy area. So,
Tummy area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not feeling the best today, gotta say.
I guess it has to cross out my shouting contest segment.
Yeah. You know, it's fine though. I hear myself and I'm like, Zach, shut the fuck up. You don't need to talk that loud or over people all the time. It's fine. So this will be a good
I think
warning.
You are both very guilty of that on DuckCast. I think I'm more guilty.
I can be just as annoying though about it.
I
don't know.
I listened back to the last two episodes within like a week's time. The Prince of Egypt one, and what was your? Oh yeah, it was a Black Mirror episode, and then last week's episode with the other guys and Bandersnatch.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like in the Prince of Egypt one, I was talking over you nonstop, and I felt like in the most recent one, it was kind of reversed. But again, you're not nearly as bad as I can be.
Mm-hmm.
We both do that though, and I think it's just because we're like, if we're invested enough in the topic, we want to make sure what we're saying gets said before the topic changes.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us have malicious intent, but I actually do. I hate your guts, but. By the way, you said that.
I wish I can rebuttal to that, but I'm not in the mood.
Correction, Zach. In the last episode, you said there were now 2 divorces with you canon. The divorce doesn't become canon until 2021.
It's still gonna happen, though. I mean, it's still canon.
You know what's so funny about that?
We know it's gonna happen.
You know what else is in 2021 in our timeline?
You know that Elsa's in our timeline 2021? Well, I would assume so. She's a very popular pop culture figure.
So you can't use Discord breaking out against me. If that's why that you misheard me, because I was very clear.
No, you just sounded like you said Elsa, so I just went with that.
I said you want to know what else happens in 2021. The story arc Michael Help Wanted, where you want me to kill people.
Oh.
And you die.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So 2021 is going to be a very rough year for you.
Shit.
Yeah, that's funny. Michael Help Wanted, that really crappy show that I loved doing for years. I have fond memories of, but that really crappy show is about to be like the canon year, because it started in like the show starts in 2021.
You could just pull it back to the future and have it be like, oh, it's 2015, but everything's not as futuristic as they made it look like in the second movie. You know, you should probably see the Back to the Future trilogy to know what I'm talking about. But yeah.
But I should make a Michael Help Wanted series, second series, where it's 2031 now. Because my character's aged 10 years.
Uh-huh.
Bring everyone back. Everyone can be in it again. Mm-hmm. Everyone can break the quarantine to do it.
We should, we need to discuss the elephant in the room, by the way.
What's the elephant in the room?
Other than Fun Bucket the elephant, I don't even know if I still have that puppet, but aside from that elephant, that literal elephant, you know, there's some.
I want to know more about this.
There's some stuff that happened the last 2 episodes we gotta discuss. I mean,
what?
We've got some people.
The Fancy Sons?
Yeah, we've had Kermit the Frog Liam Fancy Son and Danny DeVito Liam Fancy Son come on our podcast unofficially, unannounced.
Yeah.
It's not good.
They all do. Gage Liam did. Zach Liam did more than once. Tito Liam did. Tito Liam fucking killed Tito.
I don't remember the last time we had Fancy Sons come on 2 episodes in a row, though. This is getting out of control.
I think Zach Liam was on the episode before Kermit Liam. Or Frog Liam, wherever we say that one. I have a potential update on the situation, though, because as someone who's getting a little tired of the Fancy Sons killing off their clones, well, who they're clones of, kind of took action, and that'll have to wait because I haven't heard back yet. But we might be winning this thing by the end of this episode. So I'll just say that.
I don't know. I mean, what weapons do we really have to defend ourselves?
I just kind of know a lot about them. You know, I have.
Are you keeping things from me?
Not really, man. You'll hear all about it sooner or later.
That sounds a lot like you're keeping things from me.
I'm not keeping anything big from you. Just this.
I'm literally asking you, can you tell me something? And you're saying, nah, I'm gonna save it for later. You're keeping something from me. Are you with me?
Okay. I had an idea.
Okay.
On how to get him back.
Okay.
and that plan is in action now. But saying anything about it could be a potential risk for the plan actually working out.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to let you know, but it's going to have to wait. It shouldn't be much longer. It might only be like 10, 20 minutes, but it could take a little longer. We'll find out. Let's just focus on our other topics until then, okay?
I hope you're not risking getting a man on the inside. That could be catastrophic.
No, there is currently not a man on the inside. I can say that much. Anyway, let's move into Better. We wanted to talk about Better Call Saul, right?
Yeah, I really liked that last episode.
I liked that last episode a lot too. I think I would even go as like ballsy to say it's either my favorite episode or it's tied for first with the courtroom episode with Chuck and Jimmy from season 3. I felt like it was like
this
almost
episode
like
I felt. I mean, like the courtroom episode, you felt tense, and like this episode, you kind of got another feeling where you just feel like you really have to drink water throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still feel like the court episode is at number 1. It's still very entertaining. This is definitely a number 2 for me. It's very memorable. It's definitely a nice callback to that one Breaking Bad episode with Walt and Jesse in the desert. Just with their own Mike and Jimmy-esque situation going on.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
The thing with the courtroom episode, this episode, and then way back in like season 1, there's a backstory episode for Mike. It's just like these episodes are the ones that stand out on their own, because I would say pretty much every episode of Better Call Saul is pretty solid. But most of them do not stand out on their own because it's focusing on 5 different stories at once.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of this story, a little bit of this story. There's scenes that stand out, but not episodes.
It's not a synopsis for a single episode. It's just, the show.
Yeah, and it's this.
Yeah.
It's the same deal in Breaking Bad where there's only a few. Like that Walter and Jesse getting stuck in the desert, absolutely an episode that stands out on its own. The episode where they're trying to kill a fly, absolutely an episode where it stands out on its own. But most of the episodes are like 5 different stories going at once. I think Better Call Saul is like does that more so than Breaking Bad did, where Breaking Bad really felt like the focus was always on Walter or Jesse.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul, God, there's episodes where like Saul Goodman seems like a smaller part of it. But I really loved this one. One of my favorite things about it, aside from just like how much fucking symbolism is in it, there's so many like little details, like them wearing Mike puts on that like tinfoil blanket around him to keep warm, and who do you think that immediately reminds him of?
I actually don't know.
That's what his brother Chuck wore all the time.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's a really good detail. And they don't bring attention to it. You just kind of see Jimmy or Saul, if you want to say, look at it. A lot of people are saying that this episode is completely the death of Jimmy, which I think we've kind of seen Jimmy come back and leave a lot over the last 2 seasons. Like he's been Saul Goodman for a little while now, but there's still like kind of a heart to him. There's still like kind of a good person in there.
There is that transition though of him drinking his own piss. I mean, that's a pretty big one. He's not afraid now to drink his own piss. Pretty big character development. I know I'm taking that very literally for anyone that's wondering like, why am I being so literal about this? There's more meaning behind it, guys. I get it. I'm just being jokey. But yeah. It was a really great episode. I very much liked it. I wish we saw more of Mike and Jimmy throughout this show, and this episode kind of makes up for that, in my opinion.
It does. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about it. It's just these. I feel like Mike and Jimmy are like, even if they're not like the 2 most important characters in the show, which some may say they are, but a lot of people are calling Kim one of like the 2nd most important character, which I don't necessarily disagree with. It's kind of like they're the 2 characters that started it, you know? They're the 2 characters that have been there from the very start. Chuck and Kim were there from the very start, but when you start watching
Breaking
the show,
Bad characters that help the show kind of help getting itself advertised out there.
You don't care about Kim and Chuck right away. You already care about Jimmy and Mike. Yeah. And the show was so good that it made it to a point where I no longer care if Breaking Bad characters show up. It's a bonus if they show up, but it's not something I need. Because Kim is an interesting character on her own. Chuck was an interesting character on his own.
Although I would like to see Hank and Gomez a bit more. this season.
I think they're done. I don't think they're going to come back.
2 episodes, that's it. Come on, a little something. Come on.
I kind of get it because they are more outsiders of this story. Because they kind of get involved in Breaking Bad, but it's good to have that first interaction in Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see them again, but I would understand if they don't.
Yeah.
Maybe in the final season they get another scene, or maybe in the last 2 episodes they get another scene. I don't know.
Yeah. What did you think of I think I was maybe one of the 1% of people that was thinking this outrageous thing that wasn't gonna happen, but like in the final act when you see the car coming by them, I thought it was Kim, even though the guy never told her the location, but like just because she was asking earlier on in the episode of where they are, maybe she drove out and somehow found where they are, and like they ended up killing her and didn't know until like they saw the body. I don't know, but
I see where you're coming from, just because that would be an explanation for him.
Because they never showed the guy driving in the car anyway, and I was just like, maybe I don't know. I was like really tense during that scene because of that thought.
I didn't think that was coming, but I will say that the show is very good at subverting my expectations, and that would have subverted my expectations. I don't know if it would have made sense that she was able to track them down, though.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been as satisfying, too, if she just died that early on, too. I would like to see more Kim. But that was just my own mind playing crazy tricks. I'm really worried for her now.
I thought that her career would be ruined. I thought it was going to be like her career was destroyed because of Jimmy's actions.
Jimmy's going to get her killed by the cartel.
I think she's going to die.
I don't want her to die. I feel like she doesn't need to die.
I don't want her to die either. She doesn't deserve to die, but it's just like...
Either she dies or her credibility is ruined. One of those 2 things are going to happen by the end of the show. Or both. That would be even worse. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Some show we're watching, huh?
I just think her introduction to Lalo, that's what like set it over for me, because it's just like, oh,
when you're getting acquainted,
that was such a scary scene.
It's not that like it's not that she's just getting acquainted with anyone from the cartel. It's like one of these top dog guys that's in charge of a whole bunch of other guys. I mean, this is it's not the right kind of territory she should be in this early on in her relationship with the cartel. So.
And you know what else it could be?
Kind of creepy, kind of weird.
Well, it's not just like Kim. It could be like, it could even be like a situation where Kim literally said nothing wrong to Lalo, but killing Kim is a punishment to Jimmy. Like they're saying, like, you're good.
She's leveraged.
You've helped us. Yeah. You've worked well with us, but they kill her and says, this is what's going to happen next.
They can have him do anything with just knowing who she is now.
They killed Mike. I mean, no, they didn't kill Mike. They killed Gus's, his boyfriend, I guess. I forget the guy's name, but his love interest in Breaking Bad, which we know very little about.
I thought they were just friends.
I'm pretty sure they were. There's been a lot that like kind of hints at them being a couple. Plus, I mean, I understand someone killing your friend could be a good revenge story, but romance is normally
I thought it was just like a childhood best friend or something. I don't know.
I think Gus is gay, and I'm trying to remember all the subtext to why that is, but I do think that was like his partner,
Fucking liberal.
Okay. No, I'm not. Like, I don't. Yeah. I think it's like, there's just like little things. The first time I ever watched Breaking Bad, I didn't pick up on it. It was rewatching it, and then I was like, I kind of like looked something up after that. Actually, no, my brother was the one who brought it up to me. Then I rewatched it, and I was like, maybe that's true. And then I looked it up, and like there was a lot of extra stuff that kind of pointed at it. I think it was like the love of his life, and that's why he's. That's why like the revenge motive is so much stronger. That's why he wants to fuck Hector up, not just kill him. But yeah, it was really good. I really liked and like the desert episode. Like I said, yeah, it is just great to see them interact this long in the show for like this extended period of time. Mike opens up in that one scene, I think, more than we've ever seen him open up to anyone.
That big foreshadowing of like his final episode on Breaking Bad.
It makes it so much more fucking sad. Better Call Saul.
It does.
because like we like him in Breaking Bad, but Better Call Saul has painted a picture of him so much better.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's the only thing that sucks about the show is I don't know how like they're like there is like with Jimmy, it's super interesting to see what's going to happen to him next because we don't know what his future is. Mike, it's just like, God, all you're doing is making the only thing that he has accomplished in Better Call Saul is making us feel worse about what happens in Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he's in Better Call Saul, but it's just leading into such a downer fucking scene. We all know it's coming.
What'd you think of like Jimmy's first interaction with like combat? Just
That was
war
fun,
all
right?
around him, like snap of a finger, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's super out of nowhere, and it's also just like, God, we don't see that in Better Call Saul. That was like
It was a
normal.
very Breaking Bad feeling kind of scene.
Yeah, that was insane, and
Also,
I was like, I thought
did,
it might be a nightmare for a second. Like I thought maybe it was like a nightmare or something.
Did you think how I did? I didn't expect it was going to be Mike to save him. I thought it was going to be like the two twins.
I didn't think it was going to be Mike. The car was different, so I didn't think it was going to be the two twins. I thought that it might be. I couldn't remember if he would have been out of prison yet. I almost thought like maybe it'd be Tuco, but that's kind of. I don't think
There'd be no reason for him to do so. Like the twins, I can see. I didn't recognize the car, so that's why I didn't think otherwise. But like I thought, because they want to make sure the money gets from point A to point B.
Tuco was a bad assumption. Tuco was a bad assumption, but I was considering it just because it's just like in the heat of the moment. Sometimes it's hard to like think logically,
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh God, what's happening? And because they kept like keeping it a secret, like you keep seeing the guy's legs walk around, and you keep seeing like everything but the face. I'm like, this is going to be a character reveal. That's what I got in my head. Instead, it's not a character reveal. It's it's Mike, and we've seen Mike in every episode. But what's so significant about it is we find out who it is when Jimmy finds out who it is.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's why it's almost like a mythology story, just like an old man and a young or a younger lawyer wandering through the desert with a bunch of cash. Just like Mike felt like a urban legend in that episode, just like the way he looked and it's all about it. Like it was great. That episode stands out so well from like I think anything in the series.
I agree.
I love everything about it. I love a lot of the details. One of my favorite details of the episode's a really tiny one, is when he's waiting to meet with the twins. He's like pouring water on his shoes to clean it, which he probably and then at the end of the episode,
I forgot all about that.
That's such good foreshadow. Like that's such good like a little detail. I told my dad I was like tied for my favorite episode now, and he was like I like it, but it is just them walking through the desert. But there's just there's so many details. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
There's so much to appreciate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was already that one really fast-paced action scene. You don't really need like Better Call Saul is not a show that like is constant explosions. It's slow paced and it builds and it builds and it builds. And that shootout was the ultimate build up to all of Jimmy's shitty decisions in this most recent season, which is going by really fast. Holy crap! It's almost over.
I love how they're continuing the next episode as kind of just a sequel to this, and not like off camera they gave the money back and whatnot. Now we're seeing the process of like, he's all dirty now and he's giving it over, and like, how are people going to react to this? How is he coping with this now, not coping with it off camera? It's going to be nice to see.
I loved that. I like that too. Did you see the behind the scenes on AMC of them filming out in the desert?
No, I wanted to. I saw the video. I saw one video of
I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about this episode?
No, just really liked it.
Can I recommend, before we get to... Oh, were you about to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Before we get to recommend our movie recommendations, I want to recommend something to you that's not my recommendation for this episode, just recommendation to you, recommendation to anyone listening. I've talked about the show before on DuckCast. Community is now on Netflix in its entirety.
I've been watching that.
Yeah, it's great, right?
As soon as I saw the announcement on the Netflix coming up thing, I'm like, yes. I'm on episode 20-something right now of season 1. It's a good show. I'm liking it.
Season 1, here's the thing. Season 1's really good. I just started rewatching it today. I watched the pilot again. Season 1 is really good. Seasons 2 and 3 are legendary, in my opinion. I think it is some of the best, like, comedy television ever written. And it's also very heartwarming, too. There's, like, some really good story. There's actually some insanely good storytelling in the second and third season. You wouldn't think this is a show that has, like, a big story, and it really doesn't, but the continuity, like, steps up. But the episodes all still stand out on their own, but, like, there's so much character growth in the second and third season, and it's great.
So far, the biggest complaint I have about the show is just I can't remember anyone's names. Or a few people's names. I remember Troy, Pierce, Bretta, Abed, Shelley or Sherry, I forget which. Shelley?
I think wait.
I don't know.
Shirley, Jesus.
See, I don't know.
He's one of my favorites.
I forget the girl's name from Mad Men, which, by the way, she's from Mad Men, the brunette.
Annie?
Yeah, Annie. I really like her. And Jeff.
He's the lawyer, head of the group.
I love Senior Ching. I love the idea of him, and I love the idea of his brother being a rabbi, and, like...
You have no idea how much you're gonna love
Senior Ching. So great.
He goes through some of the biggest changes in the show. He's great.
I love him. The principal, I forget the name, too.
He's just Dean.
Just Dean?
Everyone calls him the Dean. I think in the show he might have... Everyone in the fan base knows him as the Dean.
I just see him as the flamboyant guy in charge of the community college.
By the way, these characters make cameos in the Marvel movie. Actually, the one that the Russos do. Yeah, Abed was in one. Troy doesn't. People say that Troy counts as.
Wait, what
Abed's Winter Soldier.
What scene?
He's just one of. I forget. He's like some.
I remember the Dean was in Civil War. I remember Senior Chang and Shirley were in Endgame.
Yeah, and that's all of them. Some people say that Troy is one, but that doesn't count because that's
that's Hunk. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a big character. You can't say that's Troy, but the other four I think count. I think Abed's my favorite, but I will say,
Abed's
watch
okay.
all. Yeah, I really like Abed.
I like Troy's Abed a lot. Just like not love it compared to the others. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. Only thing I will say about the show, and this is kind of a bummer, but I'd still say, like, watch the whole thing. 4, 5, and 6 aren't nearly as strong as the first 3. Season 4 had new writers, had, like, because Dan Harmon was fired from the show. Season 5, Dan Harmon... What?
What reason?
Apparently he's really hard to work with, and he has apparently gotten so much better. He's like the, he works on Rick and Morty now. That's his show with Justin Roiland. And he's a really talented guy, but he's apparently super hard to work with, and that had a lot to do with it. I don't know all the details, obviously. It could have been something reasonable, but from what I've heard is he's made peace with a lot of people, so that's good. And he's easier to work with now. But Season 4 is kind of rough because of that, and even the later seasons of the show make fun of the 4th season because of that. I'd still say Season 4 is okay. It's not as good. 5, some of the cast members leave. And 6 is actually pretty decent. 6 I actually really like. It's a really good final season. It's just too bad that some of them are gone.
Don't spoil anything, but I'll say for myself.
I won't spoil anything. Just be weary. I think it's good to be weary because it's like, I hear people pronounce it both ways.
Bagel.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I referenced that in a video coming up, actually, that one specific line. The fucking 3rd season, though, I think that's, like, such a perfect season of television. And it's, like, even if you didn't like the last 3 seasons, it's, like, and I think you will still, but, like, that one, it'd almost be fine if the show ended after the 3rd season because of how good it is. But it's still it is still worth watching the last 3. I'm sorry if I'm, like, turning you off of the show now. It's just...
No, you're not.
Because it is one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm glad you like it, though. Anything else you want to say about it before we move into movies?
No, I'm still early on in it, so I'll keep you updated if there's anything that I have enough material for.
We did that with Arrested Development, too, so that'd be nice.
Yeah. I still haven't seen those last couple of episodes of Arrested Development that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it's...
Maybe someday, but I'll forget what happened prior. So it's gonna
Maybe
be
if
a
you ever
very
want
weird
to,
reaction.
you know what you could do?
I'm not
You
gonna
could just,
rewatch it.
if there's ever a day where you want to rewatch it, because the old episodes are solid, and then maybe just curiosity-wise, you watch
Yeah.
the rest.
Even the older episodes, I'm not even like curious to rewatch. Like, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, Arrested Development's the perfect show to rewatch because they fit in so many jokes that you can't possibly catch the first time. Like it's a show that rewards you for rewatching. Okay, want to do movies now?
Sure.
So this one's a little different because like last time we've been kind of switching who gets to go first, and it should be my turn to go first. But do you want to just do yours first since it's only 17 minutes?
So what did Jack do? Is
What is this movie?
Short film. It's this black and white noir kind of thing where a guy interrogates a monkey for a crime that the monkey did in fact do, but we don't find out what he did till the end. And it's made by some guy who does these kind of things often, makes these kind of films often, right?
Yeah, David Lynch, and he does have a lot of short films. He also has a lot of feature length, but short films I think he might have more of. A lot of experimental shit.
Yeah. So what did you think of it?
I absolutely loved it, and I don't know why.
For me, I was like, I liked the idea of it as soon as the monkey spoke, and and then just kind of dragged on with the same exact tone. It was boring, but it was entertaining, and I just got through the end because I was just curious. You know, it was early in 2020. This thing got put on Netflix, recommended to me by Netflix, and I'm like, why not? It's only 17 minutes long. I just watched it to watch it. I showed my mom it, and we couldn't even get through the first minute after the monkey spoke. It was like, okay, we get it. It's funny, but I'm not watching the whole thing.
I don't think it's like. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
I don't think it's like even. I don't even. It's definitely supposed to be funny. David Lynch is a guy who makes a lot of weird movies, and sometimes he has something to say, but I am convinced that sometimes he is legitimately full of shit, and he's well aware that he's full of shit. I think he can be a very talented, very creative, very insightful director, but I also think he makes fuck you movies, which is basically just making a movie to like do whatever the fuck you want, and I don't know, you're just doing weird stuff for the sake of being weird, you know? I don't necessarily think that's what this one is, but I'm not sure. The thing with this one is, like, it was super entertaining to me. He's made other movies where it's just a bunch of gibberish, and it's just like, you know, maybe there is a point to this, but it's not even fun to watch. It's just weird shit on the screen. A lot of, like, he does a lot of abstract stuff, and this one is even kind of less abstract than some of his other stuff. I have not seen a lot of his, or maybe not even any of his feature-length films, but I've seen a fair amount of his shorts. I know he made Eraserhead, and that one's been recommended to me endlessly. I don't really want to watch it. But I thought it was funny, and I also really liked the work they did on the monkey. Even though the lips look super fake throughout the whole thing, it's just like they didn't just morph the lips. They make the nose move it with. They make parts of his like fur move with it.
I think that monkey was a great actor, by the way. I mean, every little expression. I mean, like that monkey felt every bit of emotion that he needed to.
And a lot of it was being altered. Like you could even like, I don't think the eyes were ever really altered that much. Maybe they kind of cut around with the footage.
I think it was just the mouth that was different. I think everything else was the monkey.
No, look at it again. The nose absolutely moves with the animation, and sometimes like the brows move a little bit, like the non-existent brows, but like you see it in his fur, like at the top of his head, right above his eyes. Just pay attention to that. It's really well done. It's a cool effect, and the expressions on the monkey, though, every single time they have like. Always the expression always fits what's being said.
Yeah.
And that's what's so impressive about it.
Yeah. I agree. It's yeah. I was gonna say something longer, but fuck it, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I really like the guy's voice and his teeth. That was a seller for me. That was really good.
The voice is excellent.
Very entertaining. Very weird. Just so odd.
Yeah. It's like there's so many parts where he's like, if it wasn't a monkey, you wouldn't be laughing at it.
If that monkey wasn't such a great actor, too. I mean,
but it's just... I love the song, too. I love the little musical scene where the monkey sings a song near the end.
I forget.
Really?
I might have watched the first time and was like, what the hell am I watching? Like, this is a fever dream. I don't know what's going on right now. You know, it's one of those things that you just in the moment laugh at and forget about right after because it's just so weird. For me, it was just like the same tone for so long until it changed, and it was like, okay, caught me off guard, but I'm still not gonna remember this because the whole thing's just this one tone. I don't know.
Well,
it was entertaining though. It was.
I really liked
it. Wasn't.
Rating wise, it could be anywhere from a 6 to a 10. I don't know. I definitely enjoyed it, but I don't know what the fuck it's about. So I would like to rewatch it. I would like to rewatch it with other people. Thank you, Zachary. I probably will. I heard that this existed. I probably was not going to watch about your recommendation, but I really liked it.
It's a 4.5 for me, but it's still entertaining. It is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Really, 4.5 out of like 10?
Nothing that much stood out to me, just like the idea of it. It was just like, as soon as the monkey talks, and like knowing that the monkey did do something, you know, it's just funny. It's the idea of it.
I really liked it. So yeah, good recommendation. That's up my alley too, completely.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, anything else you want to say about it?
No.
I feel like there was almost one more thing I wanted to say that I don't quite remember right now. I think I already said that I think the like monkey had like the perfect expression, like, but that's a lot to do with editing. But it's just like always like when it moved, it would like move it like when it, like even like the way it moved its head matched what the character was saying. Perfect, you can imagine a human character making the exact same movement.
That monkey should have won an Oscar or something.
Yeah, for short film maybe.
Yeah.
I thought that was a 2020 movie, but it's apparently from like 2017.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I guess it just took a while for it to get distributed.
And yet on Netflix it says 2020 on it, like that came out in 2020. I don't get it.
You can't trust the Netflix times; they get that wrong all the time.
Do they?
It's often with just movies where it's questionable because like a lot of it's like it's released in a different country a certain year, but makes it way to America. But they almost always pick the American release. Which,
well, if you're putting it on U.S. Netflix, you should put the U.S. release date, in my opinion, because there's different kinds of Netflixes.
What if it was a movie that came out in 1940 and was getting released in the U.S. for the first time?
Well, that's a very rare occurrence, I'd say. That wouldn't happen that often.
All right, fair enough. I normally go off of the U.S. date because I do videos like year videos, and I normally just do that just for the sake of not making it complicated. But it might be It might actually make it more complicated. I just like recommended movies though, so that's why I do it that way. All right, Mary and Max.
Yeah.
So this was my last-ditch effort to get Zach to like an animated movie recommendation, and if this falls through, I will never do it again. This movie is basically about...
It was black and white. I hated it.
There was a girl... It's a movie about a girl named Mary from Australia and a guy named Max from New York City in America. Both very significant age differences. We have like an 8-year-old girl versus like a
44-year-old man at the time.
Yeah, and he and they both have very different personalities, but a lot of similarities as well. And they just start writing letters back and forth to each other, with just a question as simple as how are babies made, and she just wants to find out. So she writes to a random name in a phone book, and you get their interactions back and forth. There's also a lot of narration, but they also have them just kind of reading off their letters, and there's a lot of visuals. And I think that rewatching this movie, I think it is very meaningful. It's something that I like stuck with me when I watched it years ago, and I'm not to add any. Hated it. It's fine. You can tell me that you hated it, but after rewatching it, I am gonna say that it is my favorite animated movie of all time. I would go that far. Genuinely love it. Now, what do you think of it?
At first I didn't like it because it was like just narration, and like for me, I need characters to be talking and for them to show emotions, because when a narrator is talking, they're not showcasing any emotions in their voices. They're just explaining things to you. And the very first time that Max started talking, reading his first letter, I was like, okay, now I'm into this, because I didn't care about any of the characters beforehand. I liked Mary when she said goodbye to the letter the first time, like goodbye letter. What was the line? I forget.
I don't remember exactly.
Write again soon, something like that. It was really cute. I liked that one line, but other than that, it was just the narrator. And then when Max started talking, I was like, okay, you're hearing this guy talking, and you know that there's something a bit off with him, but that makes it more interesting. I'm not just hearing about him, I'm hearing from him. And I hated how long it took for me to get to that point, but once I got there, I started to get more interested in the movie. And just all these things popping up for the characters, I really like that it wasn't just Mary as an 8-year-old girl through the whole thing. I like that she got older, and I like that we got to see her go through all these different transitions, going to college, getting married, getting a divorce, on the verge of suicide, all these things. And then seeing Max's side with him finding more out about himself and also getting into trouble that he can't help. And I really liked how it didn't hit me until like maybe almost halfway through that, like, I remember before the movie started it said based on a true story, and like when I remembered that, I was like, oh wow, all these things are happening, like him with getting Asperger's during the 1970s or 1980s, something like that, when it wasn't as common of a known thing. Trying to think of like what that must have been during that time, and since this is based on a true story, like, my god, this actually happened to someone, like all these things, like a murder that he didn't mean to do, you know, all this stuff. It's just very sad.
That part may have not been true.
Yeah.
But
if it did, it's still kind of interesting.
Yeah. It could even be just based on a true story, because all of this is stuff, like, everything depicted in this film is a very real part of life.
I feel like these two writing letters to each other was a real thing. That's my assumption.
Yeah, that'd be. I'm not against that idea at all. It very well might be the case.
And the ending of the movie, it was very bittersweet. It was very emotional. I remember feeling a lot during that ending scene, or even when she was about to kill herself. That I actually thought she was going to. Even though they showed the old man looking through the window before, like, you kind of hinting at he's gonna knock on the door, but when he knocked on the door, I thought it was just going to be knocking and no one answering. Very, very sad and grim. But I'm glad she answered it. Thank God. But yeah, what a movie.
Yeah, I really love it. And the thing with that, with what you said about the voiceover, I almost completely agree with you. Because when I first watched it, I was not into it. I was not into, like, I was like, how long is this narrator going to talk throughout the entire movie?
And then it stopped,
and it was grateful, and it only happens a few times after that. Only just a handful more times.
And I didn't mind it those other times. It was just the beginning, and it took that long until one of the main characters started to talk. That's what upset me.
Rewatching the movie, I didn't like how long it took, but it doesn't bother me, and I think a big part of it is just, like, this movie is almost like reminiscent of other stop motion shorts. Like, it's a very child friendly voice. It kind of sounds like something you'd hear off of like a children's show, but it's dealing with some of the most, like, darkest topics you imaginable in this movie.
As soon as they talk about the grandpa wanting his nipples to get erect, I mean, you know where this is going.
Yeah.
And
it's like just, it adds to me, that's what made it so interesting. I feel like this movie has fucking balls, dude. Like, it covered, like, so many harsh realities of life. The reason I like this, I think this movie is my favorite animated movie, is because as pretentious as what I'm about to say may sound, I feel like it's a movie about life. It's about, like, everyone's flaws. It's about, like, how do they refer to it in the movie? It's like our scars or our...
I don't know, but I remember the part where Max was saying, like, you know, no one's perfect, and he learned that over time. Like, he thought people should be perfect, throw out buds. Why aren't you doing these things that you should be doing? They're the right thing to do, but just kind of being okay with people.
That's what it is. It's our warts and all. We all got our warts. And I think another great thing about that, like, is just, like, I feel like they managed, this is, like, the movie that has, like, the weirdest combination of stuff that is, like, kind of cute to look at, ugly as hell at the same time, because the characters have really ugly character designs, but there's still something kind of nice about it. There's still something kind of cute about it. But it's just like, I feel like it combines those two so well, and that's, like, what the beauty of the message is too. Like, the style reflects the message, I feel, a lot.
What do you think of you know, this movie wasn't completely in black and white, and some things, like, I noticed, like, over halfway through, actually, but, like, you know, there was one scene with Max sitting on at a bus stop, and, like, everything was black and white except for the things that he cared about, or that were on his person, like the red thing on his yarmulke, or
that's what Mary was
holding.
very sentimental.
Just the things that he cared about, things that meant the most to him, were in color.
Yeah. Another thing that's different is the color tones were different. Like they were both all of it was black and white, but the color scheme was more like brownish where Mary lived, and like just a darker black and white where Max lived. And I like that style choice a lot too. I like that the only this is like depressing actually, but I like the only two scenes where we see them together is one is in a completely imaginary scene where they share the condensed
milk.
And the other scene is Mary's alive and Max is dead.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very risky move that they made, but I think it works well. It's very bittersweet, like you said. It's depressing.
They at least like had some things of hers in the apartment, not just the notes on the ceiling, but the little picture of her from as an 8-year-old girl. Like, I don't know. It was good timing that she wasn't crying for too long. Like, she reacted, but it didn't take too long for her to notice the things in the room to kind of help the audience come to terms with what's going on in the scene and just being like, it's going to be okay. I don't know. It was just very bittersweet.
Yeah, I agree. And
it wasn't terrible pacing at all.
Mary kind of has her life in order now, and Max kind of helped her as much as she needed. I feel like it's a movie that deals with like mental illness in a time that mental illness wasn't like acceptable. It has a very it's very interesting with the whole Asperger's approach when she like writes that book. It's like something that you know she couldn't really. It was so young when Max said that he doesn't see it as a bad thing in the letter, so you understand how she wouldn't like. She almost like wouldn't remember him saying that when she's an adult, but it's like such a bad taste and judgment on her ass. But again, the whole movie's about not being perfect and being a human being. And because of each other, Mary and Max were both like way better off than how they would have been. I'm like kind of going all over the place at this right now. I'm sorry, but it's just there's so much. I feel like there's just so much to talk about this movie. This is my third time doing a video talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did a Derailed on it, and me and Lydia talked about it on Real Talk. And we even mentioned it briefly on a new Derailed. I met it in only briefly. And yeah, I just I really like the scene where Max sees the letter saying that we're gonna like come together and find a cure for you, and just how angry and upset and how like understandably upset it makes them. But it's kind of like I think back to what you said about cancel culture in a previous episode. Like, not really. I don't think this movie's saying anything about cancel culture, but it's just kind of like I think something that's connected with cancel culture a lot of the time is just like people getting angry and wanting to stay angry rather than being angry for a reasonable amount of time and then accepting no one's perfect. This person deserves another chance. And I think that's what is reflected very well at the end of Mary and Max. I think that's like a very good message that even though what Mary did could be seen as very hurtful, you know, she doesn't deserve to be like hated by Max for the rest of her life because of that.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. I like it's just like so many of the other topics too. Like it has suicide in it, has drug use, it has like an alcoholic mother. It's just like that's what going back to like the narrator. That's what another thing I like about it. It's just like you do have this innocent sounding narrator in a movie where every single horrible thing about the world is involved.
Yeah. It really does escalate as a movie.
Yeah. The suicide scene, like just watching that again, oh my god, it's like such a scary scene.
Yeah.
And I'm
when she took the pills, I thought like that was it.
Yeah.
I think that might have been her imagination that we were seeing then.
Maybe, I don't know.
Wouldn't she die from that much Valium?
Maybe.
It must have been an imagination.
I'm not.
Amalgamation.
What's the either that or it's just like, I don't know. I mean, you can get...
I thought it was funny, post a very grim, dark scene that she opened the door with the noose still around her neck. I kind of laughed there.
There's a lot of dark humor in this movie. I love the humor too. Like every single letter has like so much detail put into the visuals. Like it's like almost like someone who like has a YouTube video with tons of effort where they make a visual for every single thing they talk about. This movie like animates, like he talks about nicotine, like he doesn't like when people use like litter for cigarettes in the ground because then they make it to the ocean and then fish smoke them and become nicotine pretend it, and he's like smoke. Like there's just like when there's like a shot of a fish smoking a cigarette. There's just like a visual for everything they talk about.
Yeah.
I love them talking about how babies are made. I like how Mary's like naiveness kind of grows in the movie. Like at the very beginning, she like misunderstands what Max is saying and say that rabbit, like because he says that like if you're Jewish, babies are laid in eggs by rabbis. And in one of her later letters, she mentions that like rabbits lay them because she misunderstood him. Another one was she called what her across the street neighbor he had homophobia.
Yeah, I love that. I love that she kept bringing that up too until she was older. Then she actually said the right word.
Yeah, I love
very
that.
Nice.
That's a great detail.
So good. What did you think of? As much as it took me a bit to get into the movie, what I really liked right off the bat, those close-up shots of all these little models of things that they made, and they show in great detail. Like every prop is handmade and sculpted, and they looked, you know, on a budget, but they still looked like, okay, I can't do that or anything. You know, it still looked like there's some effort put into it.
I think that it's like it made it look like a mini version of our world. Like it was beautiful to look at the entire way. I loved that. Yeah, that was great.
That was the one part of the movie that I don't think was even stop motion, because you saw the camera move very.
Yeah, I think they used a real camera. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's the thing? A tracking shot, right? I don't know what it's called.
There's some really interesting perspective shots in this movie too. Like two that really stand out to me is one. Mary's freaking suicide scene has some really crazy camera pans in it. The other one that I absolutely love is the scene where Max wins the lottery. Not only what he does with the money, but also just the shots. Like his room goes dark, the camera pans around him, his pupils get small, and like this, like the music selection too. It's like such a perfectly crafted scene. I love when he finally starts writing Mary again, because there's like that break where his panic attack is too strong, and then he goes away for 8 months. I love that he like writes a letter like of mainly mundane things, and at the end only briefly mentions his him being put into a mental institute, his homicide, and Ivy's death.
Yeah,
3 like major things that could have each been their own letter. Oh wait, and his lottery.
Yeah,
hospital, the letter. That's so great. Yeah, there's so many little things about this movie I could talk about, and I just love everything about it. The narration, I'm okay with on a rewatch. I would agree it takes a really long time, but I understand, too, they're trying to establish the 2 characters.
Yeah. I
feel like there's a version of this movie that could work without the voiceover at all and just show it through like their expressions. But I think stylistically it almost kind of works because of just other things that exist. It almost feels like it's paying homage to something.
The thing is, for me, is like that early on in the movie, it's just information overload. Like, okay, here's some stuff about the characters, personality traits, what they like, what they don't like. Yeah. I don't even know who these people are. Can you stop giving me all this information first, and maybe I'll give you the time of day.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Weird decision on their end. But
like that.
What?
I said luckily most of the movie isn't like that. But
the rest of the movie makes up for it, you know.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad you liked it, though. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, I think we said a whole lot. Enough.
Yeah. I really love this movie. I'm glad that you liked it too. I was
really hoping it wasn't going to be like another Coraline. Like in the beginning, I was like, "Oh no, oh no."
I have one other little critique, and I feel this is kind of a nitpick.
Okay.
There's one track. I think the music in the movie is great. I honestly, not until I saw Joker, realized that they play an instrumental of "That's Life" in this movie. When she's like checking her mailbox, they're playing "That's Life." I
remember.
Right. There's one track that I really like. It sounds really nice, but they play it over and over and over again in some scenes where it doesn't even really fit the tone. It's just like a piano track that they use nonstop, and I really like it. It's very lovely, but it's just like they use it too many times. They could have made some more music. There's only like 10 tracks. There's one from fucking Stupid Mario Bros. In there.
Oh yeah, I know it's.
Mary Max came out before Stupid Mario Bros. Well, actually, no, it didn't. Okay, Mary Max ripped off Stupid Mario Bros. 0 out of 10.
Confirmed.
I give Mary Max a 10 out of 10. I forgive its flaws. It means enough to me. Where
I don't know if it's 10 out of 10 worthy, because that still, the narrator's a big iffy.
Yeah, I understand. For me, it's
8.5 for me.
8.5? Cool.
Because again, I'm not an animation guy, you know, but it is what it is. It's still a high rating for me.
Yeah, I really love it. I really love it, and I'm glad that you liked it. I'm probably not gonna do too much animation with you in the future. I said like this was like the last attempt, but even then, I think with you, it's got to be something special if I'm gonna pick a recommended animated film. As of now, there's nothing else I can think of that I think you would really like. But I do have my next recommendation ready. This will be unless we have a guest who wants to do movie recommendations, which we'll find out ahead of time. But if not, the last recommendation of season 5.
Let me just make sure this movie's still on Netflix. I saw this movie a few years ago, and I remember liking it.
Cool.
Please. Oh, they took it off? Frick heck. No, it's not on Netflix. Oh, let me look for a Black Mirror episode, I guess, if you're fine with that.
Yeah, what was it, just out of curiosity?
Have you ever heard of Inside Man with Denzel Washington?
I've heard of it.
If not, don't watch it till you're able to, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, we can do a Black Mirror if you would rather do that.
Let me see. Let me find a good one.
If it's on Hulu, I could watch it.
Either that one.
I'm not gonna rent it.
Let's do this one. Okay, so there's episode 1 maybe, or it's just an episode in season 3 of Black Mirror called Nosedive.
Nosedive.
It's a 1 hour and 3 minute episode. Very good episode in my opinion. Very memorable.
How long is it?
An hour and 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. I thought you said an hour and 30 minutes. Not that that would be
a
problem, but I just want to make sure. And my recommendation is going to be a movie by Spike Jonze called Adaptation. I was introduced to it a while back, but I finally got around to watching it this year.
Absolutely. Is it on Netflix, or is it going to be another?
I'm going to rent
purchase.
It.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be another Duck Brigade purchase, and absolutely loved it. And hopefully you'll get something out of it too. It's directed by Spike Jonze, but it almost feels more like Charlie Kaufman's movie, and I know that sounds kind of... You don't know who either of those two people are right now, but I think by the end of the movie, you might understand why I say that.
Spike Jonze sounds like a guy who directed the Fast and the Furious movies. He just sounds like the type of guy.
He's known for being John Malkovich. I think he also directed Her. Great director. Yeah, you like
Where have I heard John Malkovich before? Is that on Netflix? Oh.
Yeah, being John Malkovich is apparently really fucking weird, and I haven't seen it, but it's even it's not important to adaptation, but it's even like referenced in adaptation. It's interesting. Like there's a little bit of being John Malkovich inside, and it's very, very brief, but there's like a little bit of that in adaptation, which is really weird. But adaptation, just by the way, like I think it's a pretty easy to follow movie. It's not like a really weird art house movie I'm recommending, but it is weird. It is a weird one. But I think you'll like it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. So how long have we been going so far?
I'd say maybe I didn't write down the time, but I approximated maybe we have 10 minutes until an hour.
Maybe.
The audience will know more than I do, but for right now I'm thinking 10 minutes.
I'm waiting on an update still from my guy. Let me just do random question generator while I wait. I'm sure we're gonna get it in any moment now.
By the way, are you wearing a hat right now, or is your hair just that fucked up right now?
My hair's fucked up. I have not shaved.
It looks like you're wearing like a mini yarmulke on the side.
It's like a little mini yarmulke. Random question generator.
Okay. I feel like I'll save the Animal Crossing thing for another time. I can update it in the meantime.
We had a good flow this episode.
Yeah. I wasn't talking over too much. I think that's a plus. I should get my stomach all sensitive more often.
These are all terrible questions.
It's great.
What are some misconceptions about your hobby?
Misconceptions about my hobby?
Yeah. What do you like to do? I mean, is video making even one of them anymore? Would that be
Not as much.
Big a misconception about videos or filmmaking, or just a lot of that, like common misconceptions are the ones that you'll hear all the time. It's just one, the amount of work that goes into it and the amount of people involved in it. A lot of I don't do animation, but a lot of TV stations that do animated shows or movies that have a special effects team don't really consider the workload at all, and that's why so many people in the field get treated like shit. Yeah, like it's I don't know. I work with people who get surprised by how long something takes. Sometimes I'll say that for sure. They'll think that it should be done. Doing my internship was like the first time that they weren't surprised at how long stuff was taken, because they were all people who were familiar with the field. So that's my answer. Do you have an answer?
Is there another question you can ask?
You can ask another question. I kind of answered that one. You can have one secret video audio feed from anywhere in the world. Where do you put it?
Jesus. Another question. That less creepy question. How about that?
Nancy's house, so I can detect them.
Oh.
Could put it in like somewhere funny. I don't know. Let's put it in Stuart's house.
I mean, listen, I'm a guy. You know what I'm gonna say, but I'm not gonna say it out loud. Okay? Don't look at me like that. Just choose another question. Another question.
New
What's that
question.
accent? Another question.
Do you experience phantom vibration? Feeling your
What the hell
phone
is that?
vibrate? I'm about to explain. Feeling your phone vibrate even though it didn't. No,
I don't think I've ever felt that. No.
I don't have my phone on vibrate. I have it on silent all the time. It upsets people.
Well, mine is on vibrate right now because I'm care for the recordings like it's gentleman. Asshole.
Let's see if I got a response. I did. Okay.
Is the war over?
War's not over. The war's just getting started, baby. But we got the lead on it now.
Why are you so happy about this?
Oh, because we're fucking winning now. Stuart Liam, gone. Olivia Liam, gone. Bo Knight Liam, gone. We're eliminating the clones now, man. We're winning.
You hired a hitman?
It's kind of. It was
behind my back. This should be a mutual.
But you know Willie. But you know Willie. Willie did it.
Don't try to manipulate me in the audience by giving William purpose. He never will have a purpose. Don't.
You got someone join the call.
Fuck.
You motherfuckers! Yeah, it doesn't feel so good, does it, Zach Liam?
Take that, not me.
Yeah, and there's more to come, buddy. Willie's job.
This feels weird being on the left side. For once. Anyway.
I didn't think you were this far into this, Michael. What do you mean I wasn't this far into it? You're actually against us.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, of course I am.
Yeah. He's not a fancy son.
Zachary?
For one. Yeah.
You have no idea how retarded you are.
Oh, me? You can't even come up with your own identity, idiot.
What the hell was that? Did you hear that downstairs?
No.
I did hear it downstairs.
I mean, maybe a little murmuring, but I did.
What the fuck are you talking about, Zach?
Oh, sorry, when
Would
exactly...
you be fucking honest for once in your life, Michael? I don't know what you're talking about. You fucking know what I'm talking about. Zach, you know who you've been fucking talking to these last almost 100 episodes?
Listen, I'm just more fixated on that stupid neck pillow that you just will never take off.
What neck? Oh, yeah, that's right. I do wear a neck pillow quite often.
You always wear it.
You ever wonder why you haven't seen Mike Liam, Zach, or whatever the fuck you're calling yourself? Do you really
I don't think I've ever once called myself Satch. I think that's on your own little headcanon.
That's the other fucking show. Whatever. You want to know why? It's because you've been talking to him this whole fucking time. It's not true, Zach. Don't listen to him. It is fucking true.
I can't believe a fancy son. I trust you, Mike. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't.
Yeah. No, I would never do anything like that. Yeah.
Why'd your voice go up just now?
My voice didn't go up.
Your voice went up just now.
Like how? How'd it go up?
You're like, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing it again.
Yeah, no, I'm not. It's fine. You're wearing. He's been hiding that fucking unibrow for years. Michael's dead, Zach.
How can you hide a unibrow? You know what? I'm still siding with Mike here. How can he hide a unibrow? He just made a good point. Zaclium? Is it Zaclium or Zachlium? I have no idea at this point. If you call me Zach, I mean, I guess you call yourself Zachlium, right?
The very first episode of this show, you've been talking to a fraud. This has been going
Frog?
on.
Oh, fraud.
Get that. No, don't take it off. Zach, help. Zach.
I'm not in the same state as you, nor am I even in the same building. Good luck. I think you're dead. Oh shit. Well, I mean, if they fought, right? Think about this. If they fought, he couldn't have been a fancy son. Sure, they may have had their disagreements, but they're still family. It has to be actually Mike, right? That makes sense to me. Oh fuck. Oh.
Hello, big uncle.
Tito?
Liam.
I don't see a unibrow on this bitch.
Oh, you'd have to zoom in to see it such.
I was kind of alone for a bit. I had to cut to technical difficulties. They were on the phone with me very mad that the show had to be at a halt for a bit. It's like, oh, God, we got to get paid by doing our job now? You know, what'd you do? Why'd you do this to me?
Mike Liam upset us, Zach. We were kind of convinced that he was still on our side, but that's apparently not the case now. I guess that means, that in some sense there was some loyalty there.
Didn't you have a fancy son voice last time I met you?
No.
Well, if I ever met you, I can't even keep track of all of you guys now. You're kind of all the same to me.
I killed Tito. Michael probably gonna go next, but we're gonna talk to him for a little bit. I just wanted to kind of give you enough. You know what? End of next episode. I'll give you a week. Think of your questions. On the next episode, I'll do a little Q&A with you. Think of like 3 things you want answered, and I'll give you that. I feel a little bad about all this big mess, Yeah. So I really wanted it to go to episode 100. It's too bad. Maybe we can give Michael a webcam.
We will. Gosh darn it.
Maybe we can give Michael a little webcam and he can continue recording with you just until 100.
Yeah.
But he's going to be in our facility for a little while, okay?
No. You'll give him back. You give him back right now, or else. How about that? Didn't expect that, did you? Or else. Fuck. Thought the or else would do it. Honestly, I mean, who turns down an or else? I mean, usually in movies they're like, oh shit, It didn't happen here though. No, in fact, he was not intimidated at all. Which was the complete opposite of what I was hoping for.